there is an infinite number of parallel realities with an infinite number of parallel dimensions.
Infinite parallel universes. So what the kid winds up with is this theory of like one atom weighing too much.
What if a teenage kid with homemade inventions claims the world's most powerful particle accelerator just tore a hole in reality? Scientists at CERN spent billions smashing atoms at near light speed, and according to this prodigy, they didn't just discover new particles. They ripped open a portal to another dimension using quantum AI. Joe Rogan heard about it. The internet exploded. But here's the thing nobody's asking. What if the kid actually understood something the rest of us missed? Because CERN scientists themselves once said their machine could open a door to another dimension. That's not a conspiracy theorist talking. That's a former director of the facility. So what's really happening 300 feet under the Swiss-French border? And why did a claim from a teenager make millions of people wonder if science fiction just became science fact? Max Loughan didn't whisper this claim in some dark corner of the internet. He stated it publicly, confidently, the same way he'd announced his previous inventions. CERN's Large Hadron Collider, paired with an advanced quantum AI system, had opened a portal to another dimension. Not a theoretical gateway, an actual portal. Let that sink in for a second. We're talking about the same facility that discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, the particle that explains why anything in the universe has mass. The same underground ring where protons collide with energies that recreate conditions from microseconds after the Big Bang. And now, according to a teenager from Incline Village, Nevada, they'd gone further, way further. Max claimed the quantum AI, a fusion of quantum computing's reality-bending calculations and artificial intelligence's pattern recognition, had done what science fiction promised for decades. It found a crack in space-time and wedged it open. The claim spread like wildfire. Forums lit up. YouTube videos dissected every word. People who'd never heard of particle physics suddenly wanted to know, what exactly is CERN hiding? And the timing made it even stranger. This wasn't 2025 when quantum AI might actually exist at that level. Max made this claim years ago, when he was still riding the wave of his first viral moment. Because here's the thing about Max Loughan. This wasn't his first rodeo with impossible-sounding announcements. In 2016, when he was just 13, he stood in front of cameras holding a device made from coffee cans, wire, and a spoon. He called it a free energy harvester, a machine that could pull electricity straight from the atmosphere. Scientists said it was just a basic radio wave collector, nothing revolutionary. But the media didn't care about the science, they cared about the story. And the story was irresistible.
I'm Max Loughan, and I am a physicist, inventor.
A 13-year-old in oversized glasses and a button-up shirt, explaining electromagnetic fields like he was discussing the weather. That was Max Loughan in 2016. News outlets from around the world descended on his Nevada home. TEDx invited him to speak. The headlines wrote themselves. Teen genius invents free energy device. Is this kid the next Nikola Tesla? Max didn't just accept the attention, he leaned into it. He talked about changing the world, about how adults had stopped dreaming big, and how his generation would solve problems everyone else gave up on. His confidence wasn't arrogance, it was conviction. And people ate it up. His free energy device was supposed to harvest electricity from radio waves in the atmosphere. Engineers quickly pointed out this wasn't new technology. It was basically a crystal radio concept that's been around for a century. The device worked, technically, but it couldn't power much more than a tiny LED, certainly not a revolution. But nobody cared about the technical details. Max had become a symbol, the kid who proved you didn't need a PhD or a billion-dollar lab to innovate. All you needed was curiosity and courage. Except there was a pattern forming. Big claims, viral attention, then silence. No peer-reviewed papers, no follow-up inventions that changed anything, just the glow of that initial media burst, slowly fading. So when Max surfaced again with the CERN portal claim, the internet split into two camps. One side said, "Here we go again, another headline grab." The other said, "Wait, what if he's actually onto something this time?" And then Joe Rogan entered the conversation. Rogan's podcast has become the place where fringe ideas get mainstream attention. UFOs, simulation theory, ancient civilizations. If it walks the line between science and speculation, Rogan's probably talked about it. So when the CERN portal story hit his radar, people knew exactly what was coming.
Joe Rogan didn't have Max Loughan on the podcast. That needs to be said up front. But the CERN portal claim made its way into Rogan's orbit the way these things always do, through guests, comment sections, and the endless churn of internet weirdness that fuels his show. Rogan's fascinated by CERN. He's talked about it across multiple episodes, usually when physicists or science communicators are sitting across from him. The questions are always the same. Could they accidentally create a black hole? What about other dimensions? Are we sure we know what we're doing here? When Max's claim surfaced, it hit every button Rogan loves to push: a teenage genius, a massive scientific facility with a history of strange rumors, quantum AI, two of the most mysterious words you can put together, and the possibility, however slim, that we're messing with forces we don't fully understand. Rogan's approach to these topics isn't about declaring truth, it's about exploring possibility. He'll entertain an idea, roll it around, poke at it from different angles. I'm not saying it's true, I'm just saying, what if? That's exactly the space where Max's claim thrived. Not in scientific journals, but in the realm of what if. Because here's the uncomfortable truth.
Parallel universes. So what the kid winds up with is this theory of like one atom weighing too much.
We don't actually know everything CERN is doing. The physics happening inside that 17-mile ring is at the edge of human understanding. The energies involved are beyond anything we encounter naturally on Earth. So when Rogan asks, could they open a portal, it's not a ridiculous question, it's just probably not the right one. But here's where things get interesting. While Max's specific claim lacks evidence, CERN itself has said things that make you wonder. Things that sound like they came straight out of a sci-fi script. And that's not conspiracy theorists talking, that's the scientists themselves. In 2009, Sergio Bertolucci, CERN's director for research and scientific computing, gave an interview that conspiracy theorists have quoted ever since. He said the Large Hadron Collider could open a door to another dimension. Not might, not theoretically, could. He was talking about extra dimensions predicted by string theory, mathematical spaces beyond the three we experience daily. But the quote exists, and once it's out there, it takes on a life of its own. So, what is CERN actually doing? The Large Hadron Collider is a 17-mile underground ring that straddles the border between France and Switzerland. Inside, protons, particles smaller than atoms, get accelerated to 99.9% the speed of light. When they collide, the energy released is enormous. Temperatures reach 100,000 times hotter than the core of the sun. These aren't casual experiments. They're recreating conditions that existed microseconds after the Big Bang. In those tiny collisions, new particles appear. Particles so rare or short-lived, they've never been seen before. That's how scientists confirmed the Higgs boson in 2012. For decades, physicists theorized about a particle that gives everything mass. The math said it should exist, but nobody had proof. Then, CERN smashed enough protons together, sifted through mountains of data, and there it was. A Nobel Prize followed. Now, CERN uses artificial intelligence to analyze collision data. Every second, the LHC generates more information than any human team could process in a lifetime. AI systems scan for patterns, flag anomalies, predict where interesting physics might hide. Is it quantum AI? Not in the way Max described. Quantum computers exist, but they're not running CERN's main operations. The AI they use is advanced, sure, but it's working with classical computing power. The quantum AI Max mentioned sounds more like a fusion of buzzwords than an actual system. But, and this is important, CERN has partnered with companies like IBM and Google on quantum computing research. They're exploring how quantum systems might eventually help solve physics problems that current computers can't touch. So the pieces exist, just not assembled the way Max claimed. Still, If CERN scientists are talking about extra dimensions and doors to other realities, maybe the real question isn't whether Max was right. Maybe it's whether he was early, because CERN's history isn't just about discoveries. It's also about incidents that make you wonder what's really going on down there.
Wormholes aren't science fiction. They're science fact, at least mathematically. Einstein's equations allow for them. These Einstein-Rosen bridges are theoretical tunnels through space-time. Imagine folding a piece of paper and punching a hole through both layers. Instead of traveling across the surface, you take a shortcut through the fold. That's a wormhole. The problem? We've never seen one. They might collapse instantly. They'd probably require exotic matter with negative energy to stay open. And even if you could stabilize one, the energies needed are astronomical. The Large Hadron Collider operates at 13 tera-electron volts, or 13 TeV. That sounds massive, and by human standards, it is. But to actually tear space-time, you'd need something called Planck energy, about 10 to the power of 19 GeV. The LHC isn't even close. It's like comparing a firecracker to a supernova. So no, CERN can't brute force a portal into existence. But here's the loophole. Quantum mechanics doesn't always play by the rules. Tiny quantum effects can get amplified in unexpected ways. The Casimir effect, for example, proves that empty space isn't actually empty. Quantum fluctuations create measurable forces between objects. Scientists have tested this. It's real. String theory predicts extra dimensions, up to 11 of them. Most are supposedly curled up so small we can't detect them. But what if a high-energy collision created a brief ripple in one of those dimensions? Not a portal you could walk through, but a fleeting connection, a quantum blip. CERN has actually looked for evidence of extra dimensions. They've designed experiments searching for particles called Kaluza-Klein gravitons, theoretical messengers from hidden dimensions. So far, nothing. But absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. Then there's the multiverse idea. Quantum mechanics suggests every particle interaction might split reality into branches. Cosmology hints that other bubble universes could exist beyond our observable space. If those theories are right, reality is already far stranger than portals. Max's claim sounds wild until you realize serious physicists discuss this stuff in peer-reviewed journals. The difference is they use math instead of YouTube videos. And they definitely don't talk about what happened in the sky above CERN in 2015. That's when things got really weird. June 24, 2016. Videos started flooding the internet. Strange clouds above CERN's facility. Swirling, unnatural, almost structured. People filming from nearby towns claimed the formations looked like portals. The videos went viral instantly. CERN's response? Lenticular clouds. A natural weather phenomenon caused by air moving over mountains. Meteorologists agreed, but the timing felt too perfect, the imagery too strange. And once something goes viral with the word portal attached, the explanation doesn't matter anymore. Then there's the statue. Right outside CERN's main facility stands a massive statue of Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction and transformation. It was a gift from India in 2004, symbolizing the cosmic dance of creation and destruction that particle physics studies. Except, when you're already nervous about scientists playing God with reality-bending experiments, putting a statue of the destroyer outside the building doesn't exactly calm fears. Conspiracy forums had a field day. But the incident that really made people question CERN happened in August 2016. Someone leaked footage showing people in black robes performing what looked like a ritual human sacrifice in front of that Shiva statue. A woman in white appeared to be stabbed. The ceremony was captured on a phone camera from a CERN building. CERN called it a prank by scientists after hours, an unauthorized stunt. Nothing official, just researchers with a dark sense of humor, maybe. But the video existed, and it emerged right around the time Max's free energy device was making headlines, just before his portal claims would surface. Add all this to the Mandela effect conspiracy. Thousands of people swear they remember things differently. Nelson Mandela dying in prison, Berenstain Bears spelled differently, movie quotes that never existed. One popular theory? CERN's experiments are shifting timelines, creating small changes in reality that only some people notice. Is any of this real evidence? No, but it's a pattern. CERN attracts mystery like a magnet attracts iron filings. And that brings us back to Max's claim, because he wasn't just talking about CERN opening a portal. He specifically mentioned quantum AI, which means we need to talk about what happens when quantum computing meets artificial intelligence. Regular computers think in bits, ones and zeros. Every calculation is a series of yes or no decisions, billions of them per second. Fast, but ultimately limited. Quantum computers use qubits. Thanks to a quantum principle called superposition, a qubit can be 1, 0, or both simultaneously. String enough qubits together, and you're not just calculating faster, you're exploring multiple realities at once, every possible answer existing in parallel until you look. Now add artificial intelligence. AI learns patterns, makes predictions, optimizes decisions. Feed it more data and processing power, and it gets smarter. But even the best AI today hits walls that normal computers can't break through. Quantum AI would theoretically combine both. Quantum computing's ability to test countless possibilities simultaneously with AI's pattern-finding instincts. It's like giving a detective the ability to investigate every possible timeline of a crime at once, then instantly know which one is real. Companies like IBM, Google, and Microsoft are racing toward this. Google claimed quantum supremacy in 2019, a quantum computer solving a problem classical computers couldn't touch. CERN has partnered with some of these companies, exploring how quantum systems might model particle physics problems that current supercomputers struggle with. But here's the gap between hype and reality. We're not there yet. True quantum AI, the kind Max described, doesn't exist in any functional form. Quantum computers are incredibly fragile. They need near absolute zero temperatures. They make errors constantly. And scaling them up remains one of the hardest engineering challenges on Earth. CERN uses advanced AI, yes. Classical AI running on powerful traditional computers, analyzing petabytes of collision data. And they're experimenting with quantum computing concepts. But a fully operational quantum AI system, controlling experiments and discovering portals, that's still science fiction. Which raises the question, where did Max get this idea? Did he misunderstand real research? Extrapolate too far from actual science? Or was he pointing towards something scientists haven't announced yet? Because here's what's unsettling. Sometimes the crazy people are just early. In 1957, a physicist named Hugh Everett proposed something that sounded insane. Every time a quantum measurement happens, reality splits. One universe where the particle spins up, another where the particle spins down. Both real, both happening. This many worlds interpretation wasn't fringe speculation. It was a legitimate solution to quantum mechanics problems. And today, some serious physicists take it seriously. Brian Greene, a Columbia University physicist and best-selling author, has spent decades explaining string theory and parallel universes to the public. He doesn't treat the multiverse as fantasy. He treats it as a mathematical consequence of the physics we already know. Max Tegmark at MIT goes even further. He proposes a mathematical universe hypothesis, where every mathematically possible universe actually exists, infinite versions of reality, each playing out different physical laws, different histories, different versions of you. These aren't random internet theorists. They're credentialed scientists at top institutions publishing in peer-reviewed journals. The line between physics and philosophy has never been thinner. When a Princeton physicist tells you reality might be splitting into countless branches every microsecond, is that more believable than a teenager claiming CERN opened a portal? Lee Smolin proposed cosmological natural selection, the idea that black holes might birth new universes with slightly different physics, each universe evolving like a species. The point isn't that Max was right. The point is that the universe is already weirder than his claim. Established science has already embraced ideas that sound like they belong in a Marvel movie. Which brings us to the question nobody wants to ask. What if the portals aren't in Switzerland? What if they're in the physics itself? Max Loughan hasn't disappeared. He's still out there, still inventing, still making claims that walk the razor's edge between genius and overreach. No peer-reviewed papers, no revolutionary breakthroughs that changed physics, but also no apologies, no retractions. He never said exactly when CERN opened this portal, never provided evidence beyond the claim itself, and the scientific community never dignified it with a formal response. Why would they? A teenager with coffee can inventions doesn't warrant a rebuttal from CERN's PR department. But the claim refuses to die. It circulates in forums, gets referenced in conspiracy videos, pops up whenever CERN makes news. Because it tapped into something deeper than facts. It tapped into our suspicion that maybe, just maybe, the people running these experiments don't fully understand what they're doing. CERN is currently in run 3 of the LHC. Higher energies, more collisions, pushing further into unknown physics. They're searching for dark matter, the invisible substance that makes up 85% of the universe's mass. They're looking for supersymmetrical particles. They're testing theories that sound like science fiction. And yes, they're still using AI to analyze it all, more sophisticated than ever. Quantum computing is advancing faster than most people realize. Google, IBM, and others are making breakthroughs monthly. Within a decade, true quantum AI might not be hype. It might be real. So here's the uncomfortable thought. What if observation itself creates reality? Quantum mechanics already suggests that measuring a particle forces it into a specific state. Before measurement, it exists in superposition, multiple states at once. What happens when an AI starts observing quantum events? Does it collapse possibilities into reality? And if quantum AI can process multiple realities simultaneously, is it observing all of them? The portal might not be a glowing ring in Switzerland. It might be the moment a sufficiently advanced intelligence looks at quantum foam and forces it to choose. Max Loughan claimed CERN opened a door. Maybe he was wrong about the location. Maybe the door isn't in the collider. Maybe it's in the question itself. And once you ask it, you can't close it again.